Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, all praises and the blind is due to Yahweh Bashem Hamashiach Malak Yahushai. Secondly, Brother Yardan WFI Detroit coming back at you with yet another cold cut. Before I dive into it, I want to give a warm salute and welcome to the men, women, and children laboring day in and day out. That labor consists of reading, praying, fasting, studying, examining yourself, and of course, presenting your body a living sacrifice for Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. That said, dive into the lesson. Secretly hating your brother. I secretly hate my brother. That's what the video will be titled, because there's so many verses that goes into men having that secret hatred towards their brother. And even today, within camps, outside of camps, men have a secret hatred towards their own brother. Even sisters have a secret hatred towards their own sister. And it's not always vocalized. Not everything's going to be vocalized. Some things you're just going to keep tucked inside your heart. Other times it's going to be made manifest. Right? So I want to begin with 1 John chapter 4, verse 20. If a man say, I love God, and hateth his brother, he is a liar. For he that loveth not his brother, whom he hath seen, how can he love God, whom he hath not seen? Right? So what is love, according to the Bible? We have to get that understanding. Let's go to 1 John chapter 5, verse 3, where it reads, For this is the love of God, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not grievous. So in order to love your brother, you must keep the commandments of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, because these commandments are to set you in place and give you guidance and direction on how to properly love your brother. So that must mean hatred is not keeping the commandments, not giving a damn about your brother's whereabouts or what he does. In other words, not being your brother's keeper. That's something that Cain was familiar with, not being his brother's keeper. So again, in 1 John chapter 4, verse 20, if a man say, I love God, and you got a lot of Israelite men that may say that. They may say, well, I'm all praise the Most High, I love Yahweh Shem Yahushai, but then you secretly hate your brother. You won't talk to him. You won't hit him up. You won't look at him. Whenever he salutes you, you kind of just, shalom, man, shalom. You do this, and this is what you do instead of a proper salute. Or you may just shake my hand, or you just may do this, little pat on the back. It's a shame to turn away from a man saluting you, pursuing the book of Sirach. But a man, they say that all the time. A man may say, I love the Lord, and not love their brother. So if a man say, I love God, and hateth his brother, he is a liar. For he that loveth not his brother, whom he hath seen, how can he love God, whom he hath not seen? All right, and you see your brother in the flesh. So, theoretically, in so many words, it would be a lot more simple to do good to somebody you can see, right? That's not to say we can't do good to the Most High because we can't see him, but this is somebody in the flesh where you can speak to, hug, grab, touch, communicate to in the flesh. So you would think that love would just be there on a large scale, but it's not. Let me get another precept. This is book of Matthew chapter 6, verse 21. And it reads, For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. So wherever you want in this world, your heart, meaning your mind, is going to be there. So for an example, if a man wants a lot of money, his mind, aka his heart, is going to be set on a path of how to gather all this money. And if a man wants to be a basketball player, his mind is going to be fixed to watching videos and dedicating his time and life to how to shoot that perfect three. And if your mind is set on anything else, it's going to be there. So if your mind is set on loving your brother, it's going to be shown. It's going to be made manifest through the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Right? Because to love the Most High requires action. The Lord required that we go to Jerusalem 3 times a year on the high, mighty, holy feast days. The Lord required that we handle all with our brother. The Lord required that we abstain from filthy food, right? And all those things, it takes action. It takes for you to do it. So love is an action word. So what about hate? That must surely mean hate is an action word, all right? You can say you hate somebody, but not really hate them. You're going to show it. So this is Proverbs 6:16, where it reads, "These 6 things doth the Lord hate, yea, 7 are an abomination to him, a proud look." So maybe you find yourself in a camp, or in a brotherhood. Maybe you're not in a brotherhood, and it's just a family member. You have that proud look, just prideful, puffed up like a cloud. The Lord hates that. And if you have a proud look towards your brother, that's hatred. You hate your brother because what are you proud for? Why do you think you're that much better than your brother? When you sin every day and you fall short every day, you have carnal thoughts every day, you make shortcomings every day, and yet you're prideful. You look down upon your brother. And when you look down upon your brother, you look down upon your Yahushua. I'll get to that later. But these 6 things doth the Lord hate. And these 6 things shows if you hate your brother. A lying tongue. If you're always lying to your brothers, you just can't stop it. You can't help yourself. You always lying to your brothers. Hey, you put in for arms? It's like it. Hey, you put in for arms? Yeah, I put in. Well, hold on, I got him. See, yeah, I put in. Or give me a minute. Just lying nonstop. And hands that shed innocent blood, right? It's like going into a murder demon. It's playing upon tables. That doesn't need any further explanation. Verse 18. And heart that deviseth wicked imaginations. That's plain as well. Perhaps you're plotting on overthrowing your brother. That's what Onias is like. That's what Simon planned on doing towards Onias, his brother, when you read in the book of Maccabees. That's what the Pharisees and Sadducees came together and concocted against Paul, where it read that they neither ate nor slept until Paul was overthrown and slain, paraphrasing. I mean, they did the same with Yahushua. And so your heart, meaning your mind, may have all these wicked thoughts against somebody. That's a wicked imagination. Instead of thinking, oh, are they okay? Lord willing, most I watch out for them. What can I do? Is there anything I can do for this sister? Anything I can do for that brother? Those are righteous and holy thoughts. You read about a holy thought in the book of 2 Maccabees in a very, very latter chapter, where Judas Maccabees, he saw the men slain, but they had idols in their coats, and yet he still made a sacrifice, for it was a good and holy thought. So you want to make sure you have good and holy thoughts towards your brothers and sisters, not a wicked imagination. Feet that be swift running to mischief. If your feet is always so fast to run into madness, you're the first one to speak in folly, while the spirit of the room is the opposite, then you hate your brother. I'm going to be honest. It is what it is. Here you have it where the moment in a room and the atmosphere is, brother's very serious and grave. And yet you just crack 5 jokes. Yeah, you want to hear a joke? While everybody's super serious, very grave matter, and yet you cracking jokes. You want to be a stand-up comedian. Because whatever your brother feels, you should want to feel. I want to give a quick account of that in the book of Job, chapter 2, verse 11. I'm going to jump down to verse 12. I'm going to give verse 11. Now when Job's 3 friends heard of all this evil that was come upon him, they came every one from his own place. Eliphaz the Temanite, and Bildad the Shuhite, and Zophar the Naamathite, for they had made an appointment to gather to come to mourn with him. and to comfort him. So they comforted him. Let's find out how they comforted him. And when they lifted up their eyes afar off and knew him not, they lifted up their voice and wept, and they rent every one his mantle and sprinkled dust upon their heads towards heaven. So they sat down with him upon the ground 7 days and 7 nights, and none spake a word unto him, for they saw that his grief was great, very great. And so the moment that Job's friends saw him in distress, they ran towards him. They got into the same room that he's in. And what room was Job in? He was in a room of mourning, because there's a time and place for everything. But if you're that brother that can't read the room, that can't read the atmosphere, and you say things out of turn, you're going to get yourself a bad name. It's going to seem as though you hate your brother because you don't consider his feelings. And or the same with a sister. You won't consider their plight and whatever they're going through. You just disregard it as if it's not, as if it's dung. And so all this goes back to Proverbs chapter 6, verse 16 on down. Picking up where I left off. Feet that be swift and running to mischief. Right? A false witness. Yeah, feet that be swift running to mischief. You always have one brother that's just doing some folly at the expense of the camp and at the expense of your brothers. Here you are in the car riding with brothers, you're running all the red lights. That's the spirit of running to mischief. Because running a red light is mischief. It's folly. Now everybody get pulled over. Everybody may get a ticket. Esau do whatever evil that's upon his heart. And you're the result of that. You place Esau in these brothers' lives, and they're innocent. So that's why it's wicked. That's why the Lord hates it. And if that is in your spirit, in your mind, for your feet to be swift and run into mischief, then you hate your brother. Verse 19. Verse 19. A false witness that speaketh the lies. Right? Yeah, I saw that brother pick up all the mail. He stole my mail and he went home with it. Right? But it was really another brother. It's like, let me give a better example. A false witness that speaketh the lies. Right? For an example, you see somebody rob the bank with blue hair, and then the cops ask you, well, what happened? All right, they pop out their pen and notebook and, kind of say, all right, tell me what happened, sir. I say, yeah, I saw a guy with red hair, and he was 5'2", and while the other guy was 6 feet, you just give him a false report. The Lord hates that too. So those are the 6 things that the Lord hates. And if these 6 things are in your spirit, then you hate your brother. All right. Let me get 1 John 3:15. First John chapter 3 verse 15, it reads this. Whosoever hateth his brother is a murderer, and ye know not, it's like ye know that no murderer hath eternal life abiding him, abiding in him. So you hate your brother. If it's like if you hate your brother, you are a murderer. Well, brothers might be saying and jumping on the comments. Well, what do you mean? Well, hold on, I didn't murder anybody. My hands are clean. I'm not David, and hold on. Right? Why did the Lord say if you hate your brother, you are a murderer? Because hatred is manifest from the heart. Let's be real. Whatever you think in your heart, whatever you're pondering upon, you're one step closer to doing it. Right? If you think about, I like this phone, you're probably, directed towards buying it. Your thoughts are going to direct you in life. Your thoughts already do that. And, that's going to happen whether you know it or not. You decide, okay, I want to wear these. You decide what you want to wear and what you want to eat, what you want to say. Your thoughts decide your life. And so if you think in your heart already I don't like this brother. I hate this brother. I mean, you might as well murder him. You're that much closer to being a murderer, right? You're right there between just not murdering and murdering. You're the closest thing to a murder when you hate your brother. And to love your brother is to make sure your brother lives. Keeping the commandments give you life. If you love your brother, I mean, that's the spirit of, giving him life. But if you hate yourself, you're not going to keep the commandments. If you hate your brother, you're not going to warn him about the commandments. So you might as well be a murderer. So you got to make sure, our thoughts are very critical. Our heart is very intimate. So you got to be careful what you think upon. The Lord said already in Sirach, I believe the 30th chapter and the 31st chapter, you don't want to give your mind and heart over to stress and sorrow. People that be depressed, they kill themselves. You see all the celebrities found dead, 34, bathroom, arm cut up. They were so young. Those thoughts, they just let their thoughts just fester in their mind, and those thoughts are made manifest, and they kill themselves. So when you hate your brother, those thoughts are going to be made manifest eventually, whether it be by words, by your actions, chiefly those two. What else comes from the heart? This is Galatians. Galatians chapter 5, verse 22. It's like it, not 22. We'll start verse 19. No. Oh man, this is all good. I said at 16. This I say then, walk in the spirit, and ye shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. For the flesh lusteth against the spirit, and the spirit against the flesh, and these are contrary the one to the other, so that ye cannot do the things that ye would. Salakia. I think I missed something. I just thought about it. I just placed it in my heart. Go back to Proverbs 6. I missed verse 18. Just came back to my heart. It reads, and heart that deviseth wicked imagination, feet that be swift to run into mischief, right? Verse 19, a false witness that speaketh lies, and he that soweth discord among brethren. That's another thing that the Lord hates. So imagine it's a feast and you just asking a brother crazy questions, tempting him. Here's the whole room in the spirit of mirth. Let me see if he knows this. What do you know about this doctrine, Ak? Oh, your brother died? Judgment, right? I guess that was judgment, right, Ak? You just tempting, man. Just tempting brothers. Sister doing that to sister. Oh, your hair is different. Just, your hair is different. No, your hair is nice. No, your hair is beautiful. It's different. That's the definition, textbook definition of sowing discord among brethren. Now, the one Akim saying something, now the spirit jumped in the other brother to say something. Now everybody's saying something. And that's because of what you said. You stirred up a ruckus. You stirred up mayhem in the house of the Lord. And the Lord hates that. All right? So jumping back to Galatians chapter 5, verse 16. This I say then, walk in the spirit, and ye shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. For the flesh lusteth against the spirit, and the spirit against the flesh. And these are contrary the one to the other, so that ye cannot do the things that ye would. But if ye be led of the Spirit, ye are not under the law. Now the works of the flesh are manifest. Meaning, the works of the flesh are always going to be made manifest. A man's going to think about something for so long until he do it. Until he do it. That's why you see in movies and TV shows, they wake up and say, you know what? Today's the day. I'm going to turn my life around. People have a New Year's resolution. They wake up and say, you know what? I'm going to do it today. You know, you think about something so long until you actually do it. Let me get a quick account of that in 2 Samuel. 2 Samuel chapter 13. You know, some brothers, they think, and they're not going to tell you. They're not going to tell you. Sister's not going to tell you, right? You know, a brother's thinking about moving to Hawaii. All year, he didn't tell nobody until he just does it. Or until he says something. And then he says, well, you know, I was thinking about this all year. You was thinking about it all year? Without any counsel? You know, that's whatever you think about, you're going to eventually do it, man. How do you think sin is made manifest? They think about it first. You typically don't wake up and say, I can't wait to sin. Unless you're just a demon on earth. You don't wake up and say, I can't wait to sin. I can't wait to sink my teeth into some adultery. I can't wait to get my hands on some murder. You know, you think about it first. You let it meditate in your mind, right? 2 Samuel 13:1. And it came to pass after this that Absalom, the son of David, had a fair sister, whose name was Tamar, and Amnon, the son of David, loved her. And Amnon was so vexed that he fell sick for his sister Tamar, for she was a virgin, and Amnon thought it hard for him to do anything to her. So he was thinking about it. It was hard for him to think about it. He thought it hard for him to do anything to her. But guess what? He was still plagued with those thoughts. She looked so good. Her fringes looked nice. Her makeup was good that day. You know, she did. She gave me a hug this morning. It felt good. She said shalom to me. She winked at me. You're just plaguing your mind. Is she really my? And you start guessing. Is she really my sister? Maybe she's my stepsister. We're all cousins. We're all related. We're all family. We're all blood. And that's what Esau says. We're all blood. Right? That's their ticket to sleeping with their cousins and sisters and brothers. We're all blood. Right? So, what's his name? Absalom. You know, he thought this in his heart. It's like you. Amnon thought this in his heart. I'm gonna read it again. And Amnon was so vexed that he felt sick for his sister. He was sick in the head about his sister. Tamar, for she was a virgin, and Amnon thought it hard for him to do anything to her. But Amnon had a friend whose name was Jonadab, the son of Shemiah, David's brother, and Jonadab was a very subtle man. So, you know, you put two off men in a room, some wickedness is going to occur. And he said unto him, why art thou, being the king's son, lean from day to day? Wilt thou not tell me? And Amnon said unto him, I love Tamar, my brother Absalom's sister. And Jonadab said unto him, lay thee down. I'm not going to continue. If you want to know, you continue to read, but he gave him some advice on how to achieve his goal. He didn't rebuke him. He didn't bring out any verse. He didn't run and call David. He said, look, here's what you're going to do. You know, you see in movies, they got the blueprint. He laid out the blueprint. He said, this is what you're going to do. You're going to do this by this time. You can't have friends like that in your circle. So back to the point, he had this in his thoughts, in his mind. What did he do with these thoughts? In verse, I'm going to jump to the point, jump the gun. I'm going to jump to verse 14. Howbeit, he would not hearken unto her voice, but being stronger than she, forced her and lay with her. Then Amnon hated her exceedingly. You know, and that's why a lot of people confuse lust with love, right? You think that lust is love, not lust is passion. It's florals on a walkway to your marriage ceremony. I mean, lust is real. It's carnal, man. It's real fleshly. You won't be able to achieve anything with lust. You know, there's a lot of women in Israel, they married out of lust. A lot of men in Israel, yeah, I did it out of lust. They didn't consider this, they consider that. Some brothers, you weren't working. You was in your grandmother's basement looking for wives. Some sisters, you just a complete demon with fringes on, looking for a husband. You don't know how to keep the Sabbath day. You didn't know how to do this. A lot of things in this world is lust. That's why the Lord is not of this world, but against it. That's why he prayed not for this world. When you read in John 17:9. Let me get that real quick. John chapter 17, verse 9. I pray for them. I pray not for the world, but for them which thou hast given me. For they are thine, and all mine are thine, and thine are mine, and I am glorified in them. So this world is full of lust. And so what happened next? It said, then Amnon hated her. So I say all of that to say that lust is a form of hatred too. Or lust can be a form of hatred. Lust can be a main ingredient to get that purest form of hatred. Right? And he hated himself, he hated her, he hated everything of the matter. Right? Because he realized that this lust was wicked. That lust was the seed for adultery. And just wickedness. So if you do that towards your sister, you hate her. Don't think, you got to be a murderer. Don't think being a murderer is the only way, is the only path to become a man that hates his brother. Yeah, Cain hate his brother. Yeah, he did hate his brother. We get that. But you can hate your sister. You can hate your brother, through lust. If a man commits adultery, he hated his brother. And he hated that woman. So going back to Galatians 5:17, for the flesh lusteth against the spirit, and the spirit against the flesh, and these are contrary the one to the other, so that ye cannot do the things that ye would. Right, jump down to verse 19. Now the works of the flesh are manifest. As I mentioned earlier, the things from the heart is made manifest. The things from your mind, you're going to eventually set out to do it. The same way that Amnon, he set out to do the things that was in his heart. Unless you fast and pray, like it reads in Matthew, I want to say 17-21. Those are the only ways to repel those thoughts, through prayer and fasting. But as you continue to read, now the works of the flesh are manifest, which are these: adultery, fornication, uncleanness, lasciviousness, idolatry, witchcraft, hatred, variance, emulations. That's when you try to mimic a brother. I'm going to try to be like this brother, how you talk and how you teach. I'm going to be like this sister, how she dresses and how she wears her hair. Envyings, murders, drunkenness, revilings, and such like, of the which I tell you before, as I have told you in time past, that they which do such things shall not inherit the kingdom of God. So that's playing upon tables. So those things, those are the attributes of hatred. What's another account? Let's get 1 Corinthians. 1 Corinthians chapter 8. No, 1 Corinthians chapter 1. Verse 4. I start verse 10. Now I beseech you, brethren, by the name of the Lord Yahushua Mashiach, that ye all speak the same thing, and that there be no divisions among you, but that ye be perfectly joined together in the same mind and in the same judgment, meaning decision. For it hath been declared unto me of you, my brethren, by them which are of the house of Chloe, that there are contentions among you. So you had strife amongst them. What was those strifes? Let's read. Now this I say, that every one of you saith, I am of Paul, I am of Apollos, and I of Cephas, and I of Christ. Is Christ divided? And as you continue to read on, he starts to rebuke them. But some men, they start contentions and strife by proclaiming that they're better due to this reason and that reason and this reason. My beard's longer. My fringes are longer. I'm taller than you. My voice is deeper than you. I know more precepts than you. I got a better car than you. I got a wife and you don't. I got more food in my house. I got a dog and a cat while you have nothing. So that was that spirit of outdoing each other. Well, I was of Paul and I was of Cephas. Some men secretly had that in their mind. Well, I'm secretly better than him. Whenever you say this brother don't know enough precepts, you know, he don't know enough. What are you doing, brother? At one point in time, you was in that position to where you didn't know enough. So what are we talking about? So not being too long-winded, right? That's hatred.